we went to a Christian school, so there was a service, and there was this short, cute pastor wearing suits.
First of all, should I share the story?
Because if I say, you guys know, if I say I friend-zoned him now, if you say I didn't friend-zone him, so I don't want. Let me allow you. You're my
Laju
guest.
Iren,
You're my guest. Let me allow you to tell the story.
Did I ever friend-zone?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. Get ready for transformation as we dive into God's Word. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So today we're talking about how we met.
Okay.
Let me shift close, yeah? Come close. So that the love will be showing very well.
Oh, no wonder you're so excited,
Shift
you know.
to this side now.
Best day of your life. How did you propose to me again?
I knelt down on both knees and I begged you.
I actually knelt down both knees.
Yes, you actually knelt down on both knees.
Should I be saying that?
Yeah, well, you've already said it.
In all fairness, the chair you were sitting on was too low.
Was I sitting down when you asked me to marry you?
Yes.
Okay, so it made sense to kneel down on both knees.
Yes. No, don't worry.
High five, you deserve it.
Just collect, make it not be like say.
So tell them how you met me and how you were mesmerized by me and said I must marry this girl.
Okay, so well, the first time I met her, it was actually a Bible study group, and she was teaching. Let me tell you what she was teaching on. She was. This was many years ago.
You're my pastor now, so if you say something embarrassing, it's on you.
No, I wasn't your pastor at the time. So I wasn't your pastor at the time. Don't forget, we're talking about how I met you.
How did you meet me?
It was a Bible study group, and she was called out to share.
Okay.
And she shared.
Thank God.
But actually, sincerely, at that time, I was actually really impressed. Not necessarily with the theology sincerely.
Yeah, well, the theology needed work.
Yeah, well, she has said it herself.
But my heart for the Lord was obvious.
It actually was, and she was bold and she was clear, and of course she's always been a beautiful girl. Do you understand? Apart from the fact that I've worked on her a little more. Do you understand? But she looked beautiful.
Let them bring your before and after picture before I married you and now.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to show it in this video.
Please go ahead.
You didn't tell them when we met. We were undergraduates. Okay, let me share that part.
Okay.
So I was in 100 level. He was in 200 level when we met. What year was that? 2007.
Yeah, 7.
That was when we met. But before we met, I had seen him like from afar. We went to a Christian school, so there was a service, and there was this short, cute pastor wearing suits.
She always says short, as if she was not
really
a lot shorter.
Like, I'm average height for a girl.
Hi.
Well, you were really short.
At that time, were you? At that time, were you?
I won't do one of the story.
No, you always emphasize short, like as if.
Who is this short kid pastor that can pray very well? Like, because I think I've loved the Lord for a very long time, so I've always been attracted to guys who love the Lord.
Oh, really?
And you're the handsomest of them all. Oh, that's why I agreed to marry you.
That's pretty obvious, but wait, you mean you've been attracted? Anyway, just playing.
No, you've not been attracted to anybody before you met me. I'm the first.
No, but the way you made it as if.
At least you are the last.
Yeah, that's what matters.
Let's leave it at that. And so I think we didn't really talk that day, but we met at a different time. I think it was after that meeting you talked about. And then we talked, but we didn't start dating until many years later. Yeah. Maybe you should share the story your way. Okay,
first of all, should I share the story?
Because if I say, you guys know, if I say I friend-zoned him now, if you say I didn't friend-zone him, so I don't want, let me allow you, my
Laju
guest.
Iren,
you're my guest, let me allow you to tell the story.
Did I ever friend-zone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No problem. End of story.
I'm a truthful person, I won't lie. I also friend-zoned you.
End of story.
Okay, so tell them the journey.
But I still wouldn't say either of us friend-zoned the other person. I don't know. Well, let's not get into the technicalities of the definition of exactly, so that you don't say that the period that I was asking you out for 3 months, you friend-zoned me in 3 months.
Give them the gist of how we met and how you decided, or you knew I was the one.
It's a long story.
Yeah, we have all day.
Well, first of all, as weird as it may be, I already had some sort of commitment from secondary school. You know, it's funny. I went as far as talking to the lady's mom.
Okay.
And then she said, my daughter cannot be in a relationship till she's in 200 level. I think she said that. And so, when I got into the school, honestly, I feel that, but for that, we would have dated easily. But like I said, I had commitments and all of that. So 200 level, I gave it a shot and I started dating this other person. Now that I think of it, I just feel that it was God at work, because that was at the time that our ministry started as a campus fellowship. I felt it would have been very distracting if we were dating at the time.
Okay, yes, we are in ministry together.
Yes, you were a key leader in the fellowship that I had founded. You know, so I just see the fingerprints of God behind everything, the way it happened and all of that. I can imagine how distracting it would have been if, you know, we're dating and then you know how that school can be.
And then it may not have worked because there's a lot of maturity I think we needed to go through different needs now.
Exactly.
Let me let you continue.
Yeah, well, basically, very long story. but
What do you want me to tell it?
But the point is, there's some things she's going to see herself. But the point is, I was in a relationship until my final year. I did a 5-year course, she did a 4-year course, and so even if I came into school before her, we were graduating together. You know, so at that time, my former relationship did not work out. I knew that I wasn't. Very wonderful lady.
Yeah, very, very amazing.
Exactly. You know, but I knew that it was not meant to be. You know. But I never really saw her that way. I never really saw you that way. We were walking together, praying together, preaching together, and all of that. And I remember one day I was praying and I felt the leading of God to write out.
That was after you guys had ended that relationship.
I felt the leading of God to write out what I wanted, because I felt like I just come out of a relationship that was really a good relationship. So the question was, what really did I want? You know, so I wrote out the qualities I wanted. In fact, I won't tell you the things I wrote. But almost immediately I was done, give or take maximum 10 minutes after I was done, you came into the office where I was. I was a student leader in school, so we had offices. So you came into the office where I was, and you were ranting about some challenge you had with your project.
I mistakenly deleted my chapter 5 that I had worked on all day. So I was in a really bad mood. I was just looking for a shoulder to cry on. And
whilst she was there ranting, for the first time ever, I was looking at her, looking at the list I had written, looking at her, and I was trying to show empathy about what had happened to your project. But I was like, oh my God, like, what, I mean, how come I'm just realizing, you know? And in fact, it was complicated. Of course, I was her mentor. I still mentor her, even though, of course, we're friends and I'm a pastor and all of that. And at that time, there was a little something about to.
Yeah, I was in a situationship. Is that what you call
it? What do you call it?
Undefined situationship at that time.
Yeah, the one who gives
with
it all these terms.
Somebody who he was encouraging me to date.
Yes, who was also my protege.
Yes, it was really weird. In fact, let me just. So when I met him, I liked him like immediately. Okay. And we used to hang out. I think then my roommates knew, we used to have service days, I think on Thursdays. And my roommates knew that I would see you because that was the only time I would wear makeup. Okay. And I would dress and I'd be like, I'm going to see Emmanuel tomorrow. Then we're not calling you pastor yet. I'm going to see Emmanuel tomorrow. What am I going to wear? And so I would dress up and then we would walk after service together. Then I would go to my class and you would go to yours. Yeah. But after a few weeks, I realized that you began to give space. I think that was around the time you guys started dating. Yeah. So I would only see you maybe during meetings and then I would say, oh, are we not working together? And you say, oh, I'm busy. I don't even know if you remember.
Not quite. Not quite.
Well, a few people hinted me that you were in a relationship, and so one led to the other, and we brought up the discussion. And at that point in time, you felt that was the direction that your life was going, and it made sense. That I think as we grow older, we learn a lot, and so we talked about it, and we said, oh well, no problem, let's move on. And then ministry, which is now Celebration Church, started. I almost dated somebody. You encouraged me to date. Can you remember?
It just made sense.
And I almost dated another person. You're going to date like 2 people.
Like she loves the Lord. Oh my God.
Oh my
like,
God.
And you know.
So it was in the midst of this, my situationship. I think we were in the final year. I was in 400 because I did a 4-year course. You were in 500. And you told me my relationship with this amazing young lady who is married now and is happily married and has a child. And you said, I don't think this relationship is going to work out. And somehow that statement was a simple statement. Because you said, okay, can you pray along with me? I just want to know what God is saying. But my own prayer...
I can't even remember that.
I can remember very well. My own prayer was, God, let him not break up with this girl because I can never date this guy. Because the only thing that kept me from imagining myself dating you was the fact that you were in a relationship.
Okay.
And so I was like, somebody in a relationship. I won't even put my mind because let's just be friends. And so it was easier for me to be closer to you.
Yes, I got to know you better. You got to know me
without
any,
that
exactly
feelings, emotions, and it was so. But the next time you said the relationship had ended, and then we started spending time together. Final year runs, we had ministry meetings, or if there was clearance, TTJ, things like that. And people would say, you and this guy, and I'd be like, no, I can never.
The funny thing is, before then, we were working together, but no one ever made those statements.
Yeah.
At least not openly. I still see the fingerprint of God behind all of this.
Honestly.
Because for some reason, we're walking and people are saying it loud to our hearing.
Like, I remember a particular day, there were like 3 different people who made similar statements. Like you and
in a space of 30 minutes, we're walking to a classroom and in about 30 minutes, 3 people.
It was strange. It was so strange. The confirmations were so amazing. And then beyond the confirmations, because of course we teach people that you should make your choice with God. And I remember somebody asking, when one particular guy asked me, I said I wanted to think about it. And my sister said, if it was Emmanuel that asked you, I said, I would say yes, because you were the kind of person that I wanted to be with. Somebody who loved the Lord, was in ministry, was also a friend, and then we are going the same direction. And I'm just grateful that it all worked out.
I'm grateful.
Although I didn't agree immediately. You asked me, I said like,
you're very lucky.
No, you are the one that is lucky. You are lucky. In fact,
you were doing shakara.
Because when you first asked me, I remember going to my room and just basically crying all night. Because I was like, I really liked this guy before. And in tears at me. And I was like, I'm not talking to you again.
It was really complicated.
And I actually kind of liked somebody else, but no, it wasn't even close. Now that I look about it, it wasn't close at all. So a few months later, I said yes. After all your drama, your begging.
I have to say that in those 3 months, I just feel you were just giving it time just for, I don't know.
I didn't.
Hold on now. Wait now. Let's recount some things.
Land.
When we were convocated, the way it's done in my alma mater is you sit with your course mates.
I already liked you that time.
Wait now, but is that not in the 3 month space?
Oh yeah, let me explain.
Oh, now you want to explain?
No,
you want to explain?
Let me.
And then I was going to my seat. She called out to me and said,
"That one was like 8 days before I already liked you then."
Wait,
okay,
no. She said, "Can you come and sit with me?"
I already liked you then. I already knew I was going to say yes then.
But okay, so now I'm going to my seat, and you call me, and in that period, though, you friend zone me.
Oh my God!
Yes,
oh
I'm
my
thinking
God! Oh my God! You guys know what? When he first asked me out. I think it was around Easter that year, 2011. That was when I started going out. When we got married in 2014. When he first asked me out, I did not pray about it. In my mind, it was a no, because I knew the person you were dating, you knew the person that I was in a situationship with. We were all kind of close.
That
It was
situationship
weird.
is
It was a very
long.
It's a very long.
No, but
thing.
the grammars of situationship anyway.
Anyway, that's all things are passed away. So anyway, what was I saying? But in that period, I didn't pray about it. You can ask. When I was talking in the last live video that you showed up, I said, ask me. Moyo is my roommate. That you
Was
were,
your roommate?
I miss her. She was my roommate that I didn't even know you were talking to her about what was going on with us. I just remember just being like, oh my God, how is it going to be? What are people going to say? But the more, I think for like a month, I didn't pray about it. And then one day when they were doing this speech competition, I now came to sit close to you. That was, I think, like 1 or 2 months after you had asked me out, and that's when we now actually started spending time together. And then that was when I finally prayed about it.
You know,
I knew I was going to date you. Like,
let me tell you something that happened to me. When I asked you out, I was a little embarrassed by the whole thing. You know, there was a little bit of ego. Like, I asked her out, she said no, and all of that. I understand you were afraid, and
it was weird.
It was complicated.
But looking back now, it doesn't seem like such a big deal.
Well, thank God. But basically, I actually had started to zoom out. You might not have known, but in fact, I began to pray, and I was like, you know, God, there has to be other options, you know, and all of that. But one night, the Lord spoke to me. I'm not going to actually say verbatim, you know, what I heard the Lord say. But long and short was telling me that this was His will and that I shouldn't give up. Do you understand? So my conclusion that night was, well, I'm not going to talk to her. Do you understand? Like, if God is actually talking to me, let her initiate the next conversation.
Okay.
So then TTG had started.
Okay.
And I was sitting at the back. You always sat in front.
And I was angry about something. I remember you wore 3-piece suit that day.
I was always a handsome guy, not too weak. I was just playing.
You've always been a handsome guy.
Oh, and I was even teasing. So you came to the back. You know, you were angry about something. You know, and you know, and you were just saying this person did this, and I was like, oh, sorry. And that afternoon, you said, are you going to the cafeteria? Let's go and have lunch. Do you understand? So, that simple gesture, you just
open the door. But I think even after then, there were still some. I think when you are young, you may not be able to process a lot of things at once. So I'm really grateful for patience on both parts. I'm grateful for the Holy Spirit. Because I know that even after that time, I was like, okay, let me give him a chance. Sometimes I'll be like, what if not? What if? So, but I'm grateful for our journey so far. We've been married 5 years.
Yeah. You will do shakara and see where you did.
I don't want to.
You don't want to. Praise God.
Hallelujah. We've been married 5 years. What was it about me that made you say, I'm going to marry this girl?
First, no, actually, I'm like, there's so many things to say. I'm like, where do I start?
Okay.
So, first of all, we're really close. Do you understand? I felt like I could actually do life with you. You know, I mean, just without thinking, you know, it was going to be a pleasure. Secondly, you love the Lord. That has always ranked very high for me. And then thirdly, around that period, I don't know what occasion that was. We had a meeting, and there was something I was lackadaisical about or discouraged about, and you took that ministry, that small youth fellowship, like your own, and you came in and you encouraged me and you told me, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing, you know.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, in fact, I remember clearly what I'm saying, but I can't remember what it is you were doing. But long and short, you showed so much commitment to God and the work. Do you understand? So, and it really mattered to me that, you know, at that time, everybody who sees what we're doing now, pastoring 700 people and all of that, but at that time, it was just vision at its raw state. So it really ranked high for me that you could see what God was going to do. You supported 100%, So love for God, love for ministry, love for
And
people.
I'm flying die.
I can't lie.
I'm your
That
snake.
part. So that was it.
Well, my own answer to that question. I wanted a guy who loved the Lord and who was a spiritual leader. Like who was the same person on the inside and that he was on the outside. And I remember my mom saying, date this guy. Like she always really loved you because of the way you've always treated people, whether or not they were high up there, whatever level of society they were, you've always had that heart for God and heart for people and commitment to me. I remember when my organization, Having It in First Saturday, we had our first outreach and it was to buy food for all the cleaners. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
It was to buy, I think it was that same year, a few months before we started dating, it was to buy food for all the cleaners. And for some reason, the money had finished and I was just like, oh my God. And you came and you gave me 8,000. I think you said it was from, I don't even know if it was from you or if it was from TTYF, which was ambition at that time. And it really touched me. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, this guy is so...
I can't remember.
So just having that heart for me, pushing me to do better, to be better, to be all that God has called me to be. I think because I know that I have a lot of gifts and I have a lot of talents, but I think there's a part of me that used to be afraid of failure, and I'm like, let me just. But you've always been that person who, through your words and through your actions, will push me and say, get out of your comfort zone and do better. And I was crying. Let me stop there.
Love you.
So, why did we decide to get married? Because I think we were in our early 20s when we got married. Let me not start discussing age. In our early 20s when we got married. What would your advice be to people who probably want to get married at that age or are considering getting married at that age or around that age and are in relationships that are right for my body, feel, oh my God, you're still so young? What would you say to?
Well, I really, how do I approach this? A lot of people mature differently. There are people who are still babies at 35. There are people who are adults at 16. So it has a lot to do with sense of responsibility. The first thing you need to know is that marriage is very different from a lovey-dovey affair. It's not just butterflies now. This is responsibility. If you're the guy, you're going to head a home, you're going to have kids. If you're a woman, you're going to mother children. You have to be a nurturer. You have to. And then you talk about the financial responsibility. You talk about that independence. Even for mature people, that phase where you're separated from your parents, and before, whether or not you're doing well financially, there's a backup plan. You can say, daddy, mommy, and all of that. But you now want to thrive on your own. It's not easy at all. So I think they first of all have to realize it's serious business. It's serious. So when older people are telling you take your time, sometimes they're just afraid and they overdo it. But in all of that, see the seriousness of the situation. They want you to see that it's not child's play at all. It's going to be challenging and all of that. So that's the first thing. And of course, you have to be an adult. Some level of independence, a reasonable level of independence. The worst thing that can happen to a lady is to marry a mommy's boy or a daddy's boy. You cannot stand up for your woman, protect her, from unfriendly friends, unfriendly relatives, and all of that, and vice versa. For the lady to, just that boldness, the bravery to be a family. It takes a lot of bravery, financial independence, and all of that.
I believe you have been blessed by this message. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.